Imagine you talking to one of your relatives, and suddenly you see someone out of the window in the garden picking up flowers, looking exactly like her. Or while your sister is sleeping in her bedroom, her duplicate walking around the house. How creepy is that? This is what Emilie Sagee and her family had to go through every day. In 1845, Newark boarding school welcomed 42 young girls, mostly from the Livonian aristocracy. Among them was the young Julie, 13 years old, daughter of Baron de Guldensstubbe. It is through her that this story is known. There was a new French teacher called Emilie Sagee in the school in that year. Emilie was 32 then. She is described as blonde, a little taller than average, a little shy and nervous, but with a gentle, amiable and cheerful character. A few weeks after her arrival, the first rumors started to appear. It is said that Emilie Sagee was born in 1813 in Dijon, France. From the very beginning of her life, there were weird activities taking place around her. All her neighbors in times saw her with a little girl looking just like her, and they thought that Sagee family had identical twin girls. But in fact, there was no twins at all. Even sometimes when Emilie was at home, her friends could see her, standing in the playground, and tried to play with her, but she acted weird, so they just stopped trying to play with her at these times. The Sagee family were used to see a creature looking exactly like their daughter. They said in such circumstances, Emilie used to lie down in her bed with a blank look on her face, and after that she couldn't remember any of that. After graduation, Emilie decided to be a teacher. But her everlasting problem followed her anywhere she went. She had trouble in any school that she worked in, because her doppelganger never left her alone. She was fired from 18 schools, until finally she found a good spot in a boarding school in Latvia, where she met young Julia, as one of her students. A few weeks after her arrival, the first rumors started to appear. A student said that she saw her in one place, while another saw the teacher elsewhere. One day, when Emilie Sagee was teaching 13 students, including Julia, the young girls suddenly saw two identical teachers lecturing them on the blackboard. The doppelganger mimicked everything that their original teacher did, and it seemed that Emilie herself couldn't see the weird creature standing beside her at all. Over the months, this duplication was repeated. The duplicate sometimes exactly mimicking the teacher, and sometimes not. The most remarkable phenomenon occurred on a day when 42 students were in the same room. They could see Emilie Sagee through the windows. She was walking in the garden and picking flowers. But suddenly the students saw Emilie double sitting in the teacher's chair. Meanwhile, the real Emilie was still in the garden, but her movements have become slow and heavy, as if she was falling asleep. At this moment, two of the bravest students dared to approach the doppelganger and tried to touch it. They said it felt like a piece of muslin. Then the form vanished and Emilie Sagee resumed her more lively and normal pace. The phenomena continued episodically during the 18 months that Emilie Sagee remained at the boarding school, between 1845 and 1846. Parents began to worry about the strange events that their children were going through. At the end of 18 months, there were only 12 students left in the school out of 42. The manager had to decide to fire the strange teacher to save her school. After leaving Newark, Emilie Sagee lived with a sister-in-law for a while, who had several young children, which she took care of. They get to know the peculiarities of the French woman, because they say they often see the two Aunt Emilies. Later, she traveled to Russia and Julie de Guldensstubbe then lost all contact with her. This incredible story was first published in 1860 by Robert Dale Owen in his book. He claims to take it from the direct testimony of Julie de Guldensstubbe. But in fact, no one knows for sure if the story is based on real events or from the pure imagination of Julie or Robert Dale Owen.